Page 90, London Bridge, Deck the Hall, and America the Beautiful. I'm going to do all three of these. They're all real short, and they're all dealing with dotted quarter notes, and that's what this lesson is about, dotted quarter notes. For some reason, dotted notes seem to cause people problems. Not everybody, but some people. And frankly, I think they cause themselves the problems because dotted notes are really pretty simple. So don't overcomplicate it. Having said that, now I'm going to overcomplicate it because I want you to understand what's going on in a dotted note. Any dotted note, doesn't matter what it is. This lesson deals with dotted quarter notes, but it could apply to any dotted note. Here, we're dealing with 4/4 time signatures on this page. That means a quarter note's going to get one count. The dot, regardless of what the note is, the dot gets half the value of the note. So in a quarter note, half of that value would be an eighth note. You remember, you take a quarter note, chop it in half, you get 2/8. So the dot is the same as an eighth note, but it's tied. Remember tied notes? You play the first one, and okay. Well, so the dot is tied to the note. So you just hold the dotted quarter note down for 1.5 counts. 1 count for the quarter note and a half a count for the dot. That's it. And then, as I said, any note could be dotted. If I had a whole note, I can't have a dotted whole note in 4/4 time, but let's just pretend. If I have a whole note and a dotted whole note, well, if the whole note gets 4 counts, that means the dot would get 2 counts because that's half of 4. And you simply put them together, so a dotted whole note in that case would last 6 counts. All the dotted notes work the same. Now, another way of looking at it, and I like to explain this different ways because different people understand different. Some people understand one way and other people understand another. So let's try this. A beat lasts until the next beat starts. Beat 1 lasts until beat 2 starts. Get it? Yep, okay. Dotted quarter note, it gets a beat. That's the full beat. So let's say on London Bridge, the dotted quarter note, the quarter note itself comes on beat 1, and that's going to last throughout beat 1. Something has to come on beat 2. The quarter note doesn't care what comes on beat 2 because its job is to last through beat 1 and it's done. Well, in this case, the dot comes on beat 2. And it takes up half a beat. So then something has to come on the end of 2, on the second half of 2. So the dotted quarter note itself is going to take up all of beat 1 and half of beat 2. 1 and 2. And then something comes on end of 2. That's another way of looking at it. Let's just take care of London Bridge here. Let's just check our notes and rhythms and everything. You're starting here. I'm going to do both hands here. You're starting here in right hand. And left hand is here, so we're in middle C position. Okay. It's 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and 3. Because the other quarter note comes on beat 3. Huh? So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and. It's just a long, short note. That's it. You've had a dotted half notes all along. Not all along, but for quite a while. A dotted half note is a dotted note. It works the same way. So look on the second line, last measure. You see the dotted half note there? Well, a half note gets 2 counts. The dot gets half of that. It's 1 count. So altogether, the dotted half note's going to get 3 counts. It's the same logic, regardless of what the note is. So the dotted half note in 4/4 time gets 3 counts. It's like a half note and a quarter note tied together. In the second one, in Deck the Halls, you have the dotted here, comes on beat 1, the dot comes on beat 2, and the F comes on the end of 2. 1 and 2 and. They give and 4 and. So it gives these well-known melodies so you can hear the dotted rhythm. The last one, America the Beautiful, so you have pickup beat. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and 3. that's dotted rhythms. And that's as complicated as they get. If you can understand that, you got dotted rhythms. Now, let's look through all three of these pieces real quick. They're all in 4/4 time. They're all no sharps or flats. They're all in the key of C major. Make sure you can do the C major scale. And they all have treble and bass clef, except Deck the Halls, there's just one staff there. It's a treble clef. And you think, okay, in Deck the Halls, it's got one staff, so I'm just going to use one hand. Not necessarily, because both hands can play in the same staff. We've seen that before. Now, if you look at the last measure, you're in its middle C position for all of these. And it's a, well, the left hand's going to play that B. That's what the 2 is for. They're saying you can cross over and here. I'm saying put both hands up here. Use both hands and use 2 in the left hand. Here, you can do either way. I mean, either way is fine. It's not a right or wrong here. It's just I like to use both hands. And this is an example of you can have both hands even on a single staff. Now you go ahead and go through the whole routine. Getting the notes and the rhythms, putting in the phrasing, lift up between the phrasing. The dynamics, they're all about the same, whatever. Work them up so there's no hesitations, and let's go through and play each of these together just to double check the notes and the rhythms. So I'm going to give us 4 counts on each piece. I'll count us in for each piece. So here's London Bridge. 1, 2, ready and go, and 1 and 2. Lift up. 3, 4. And 2. And 4. 2. 4. 3, 4, off. Now here's Deck the Halls. I'll give us 4 counts. If you want to play it all with one hand, it's up to you. You can cross over here at the end, or you can play it with 2 hands. 1 and 2 and ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 4. 3, 4, off. America the Beautiful. Now this has a pickup beat, so I'm only going to give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, off.